Alright, greetings YouTube. We are still in the snowy winterland here. It's late February. We actually just got about 5 inches, and I think we're getting about the same again. And actually, if you look over there at my arborvitaes, I don't think one of them made it. I think it died to the pressure of the snow. So my problem now is I'm actually running low on firewood. And I had to go get the grapple, but everything on the dang grapple's frozen. I can't get the hydraulic hookups to work. So I'm kind of doing this a little more brute force way, where I can still just push into the pile with the bucket. I don't get the snow out, which kind of stinks, but it'll do just fine for getting the snow for now. I actually threw the grapple back in this garage, and it's trying to warm it up right now. But I just figured I'd show off a little bit of the driving force power of this thing. It's actually about 5 degrees now. When I started it, it was -1. So one thing, I mean, I've kind of gotten used to now, when you want to start this thing and it's really cold, you got to let the glow plugs go about 5 to almost 10 times before she's ready to go, and then you kind of do the aggressive keep engaging the starter until it connects, and then usually it starts a little quicker with a little less effort. I actually just called the dealer as well, and he's gonna take it back after the snowfall, see if he could do something with the block heater to get it to heat more around the starter area, or even the starter itself, so it's all one plug-in, and that way hopefully that'll heat it up, because I do think the problems with the starter, and actually I've been reading all the comments and I've been appreciating it, people giving me advice and just some thoughts. I'm going to have them test the starter itself as well, see if that is just a bad starter, because that'd be good news for Mahindra and good news for me, because it means they don't have a systemic problem and it's easy to fix. As you can see here, I had to peel off the snow on this thing. That's where the grapple would have helped, because I could have just gone top down and picked up all the wood. Missed out on the snow. Getting into the pile is kind of tricky. So you can actually pick up some wood. But she doesn't do too bad. I mean, she's got a lot of driving power. I think so after I do this a couple more times, it might be a little easier as I pick off all the edge stuff. Stuff like this though makes me miss the hydrostatic. It's so easy to go back and forth, because right now just my right foot doesn't get used at all. It'll make it a little easier, but obviously I wouldn't get quite the driving power I do with the geared transmission. You know, and this thing right now, it's just running at this RPM. More power than I need, that's for sure. I could move that whole pile if I decided to drive right into it in low range. I'm actually working in medium 1 when I'm pushing, and driving in medium 3. I could go faster, but the stuff in here is obviously not stacked well. So other than that, things have been working good. The 4-wheel drive on this thing works really good. When I went to get the grapple, I finally saw how much snow is really out there. It's got to be a solid about 2 feet. So I'm driving on about 6 inches everywhere I go, at least. Probably even more in a lot of spots. Because that boiler is actually up on stands that are probably 8 inches tall or even more. And you can't hardly see it. It looks like it's flush with the ground. It's actually not the case. I actually didn't get much wood on that run. That's actually where I parked the tractor, so I mean, it's not even heated, it's just really get it out of the snow and out of the wind if I need to work on it. I haven't had to put serious effort into starting it for a little bit. I mean, it always generally starts within 10 minutes. I'm worried though when it gets about -20 that I just won't be able to get it started. There's just not a lot you can do to warm it up. You can throw a tarp over the block and put a space heater in there, and that's one of the better tricks you can do. Obviously that takes half hour to really have any effect. And I had to plow all this out here today. As you can see, here's my big wood that I got to cut up this summer, and then here's my good wood pile. But I'm trying to burn up this garbage stuff. I actually, first year I lived here, I bought just the cheapest, like tree trimmer wood, so it's all rotted and dying trees. It's cheap and it works good for the boiler because I like the big stuff because it'll last 24 hours or more. But it will rot and just deteriorate and then slowly become no good to anyone. Not even to me to burn it. You just don't get any heat out of rotted wood. See, right there is where it'd be nice to have a grapple. I got a few, but I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. Because you're doing the lazy man's way. You can't be too much of a critic. You just got to accept some runs you're not going to get that much. One thing I really just don't have any complaints about is just how heavy duty and strong the loader is. I mean, even now without much idle, it's fairly snappy and it's extremely powerful. It just doesn't flinch. Even with the grapple on, and with the grapple with the wood, it's probably getting on the edge of 1,500 to even 2,000 pounds. It just doesn't flinch. And it doesn't pick up in the back, and that's another thing about this tractor. If you're ever looking at these, I'm not in terribly hilly country, but just because of logging, you do end up lopsided in weight sometimes. And man, this thing is just not tippy compared to that John Deere. That John Deere, I can pick up my back tires all the time, but this one, the only time I pick them up is if I'm driving too fast over something bumpy. And then I get punished. But obviously nothing bad has ever happened. That's about it. If you got any questions, any other ideas, something you want to talk about, I actually got a 7-foot tiller coming my way. Doing a raspberry garden, doing a normal garden for my wife, and then I'm actually going to do these little fields I got with that tiller. So if you're interested in that, I will be posting videos specifically on the tiller, why I chose that tiller, and going from there. This is where the old raspberry garden was, and I'll probably keep it to a degree, but I want a lot more. Me and my son really can clean out raspberries, so it's hard to have enough where you can eat your fill and store some for the winter. Just have raspberries all year. It's one of the things, I don't know if you know you can do with raspberries. You can basically just, once you clean them, freeze them as is, pull them out during the winter out of the freezer, and they're pretty dang good. In my opinion, better than what you get from the store most of the time. So, alright, thank you for watching.